Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to The Pulse. The bulletin is live from our studios here at Kokomlemle in Accra. My name is Kenneth Jesse. And this afternoon, Gold Board off-takers fees and trading shortfalls deepen Bank of Ghana's gold for reserves losses to $214 million in 9 months, according to the latest IMF report. Also ahead this afternoon, new global info analytics poll reveals rising support for Kennedy Japan in the MPP flag-bearer race, with former Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia holding a steady lead. We speak with pollster Musa Dankwa and engage the parties for more. And of course, it's Christmas Eve and major roads in Accra, Kumasi are heavily congested with bumper traffic as shoppers and travelers head to bus terminals in central business districts just hours before Christmas.
Booming for now.
We are in next month, so something small for the boys.
We are from Amasamai, so we on the way coming, we were stopping at every store where they have the goods, and we were asking of the prices.
We got more as the Greater Accra Regional Police is deploying more plainclothes personnel for intelligence gathering, intensifying patrols and increasing visibility. And we got the latest of these and many other stories coming up in the next 1.5 hours. The Pulse is brought to you by Defendril Cough Expectorant. Defendril, breathe easy, feel better. Details after this. Hello again. Now, operational costs from Gold Board alongside trading shortfalls have been identified as the major drivers behind losses under the Bank of Ghana's Gold for Reserves program, which climbed to $214 million within the first 9 months of 2025. So really, what does this mean? Head of our research here at Joy News, Isaac Ofieje, is joining me in studio to break it down for us. Isaac, let's run through the numbers. How did we get here?
So, I mean, the IMF has their latest reports available, and that is what we've been going through currently. And our focus is on the Gold Board. This is because if you look at the current, state of the economy, it's an economy that is being run on the wheels of gold exports. And we understand that Gold Board, for instance, this year alone has been able to sell about $10 billion, dollars worth of gold, which has saved the city in a certain way. But the IMF has an assessment report on the performance of Bank of Ghana's domestic gold purchase program, of which the gold for reserve is a subset. And the gold for reserves is a bit connected to the Gold Board in terms of, the trading aspect of gold. And even the Bank of Ghana also getting gold to sell for reserve is also connected. And according to the IMF report, I want to read what the IMF says about the Gold Board program. And it says that if you look at the Gold Board program, between January and September of 2025, losses from the Bank of Ghana's Gold for Reserve program reached about $214 million. And they cited about two key factors. They spoke about trading losses, as far as this program is concerned, as well as off-takers fees from Gold Board. And we understand that as the Gold Board initiative is becoming bigger, and also the Bank of Ghana's Gold for Reserve program, as well as the domestic gold purchase program is scaling up. Some of these things are expected because gold is a sophisticated, mineral, a very precious one for that matter. And so if you buy it, you need people to assay it, test its quality and all of that. All of those fees are included. If you are talking about buying the gold itself, if you really want to compete in the market, you need to offer premium prices so that smugglers will not, send the gold elsewhere. And we understand that the Gold Board is putting in initiative to be able to stop smuggling and also even traceability and all of that. But what we understand is that because of the trading losses and off-takers fees from the Gold Board initiative, the Bank of Ghana has to do with some $240 million losses so far as part of its Gold for Reserve program. And we understand that because of the gold exports we did this year, the Bank of Ghana from August 2024 to about September, October 2025, they were able to intervene in the market of about $10 billion, US dollars to actually help the market. And this is significantly from the the gold board inflows that we are getting. But one thing that stood out, and the information we are getting currently from the IMF program, has to do with the fact that because of trading losses and then off-takers fees from the gold board initiative, Bank of Ghana has to deal with some losses of some $240 million from its domestic gold purchase program, or the gold for reserve program aspect of the domestic gold purchase program.
That's quite insightful. I think one of the things that I find very interesting is that it says the domestic gold purchase program poses risks to the financial sustainability of the Bank of Ghana. Really, what does that mean?
In fact, if you remember the gold for oil program, the IMF was against the Bank of Ghana being heavy in the equation in terms of bearing the cost of the gold for oil program. And remember, the gold for oil, for instance, also posted a loss of about some $128 million, which sat on the books of the Bank of Ghana. But according to the report, it says that that loss is expected to be transferred onto government's balance sheet. It will no longer sit on government, the Bank of Ghana's balance sheet anymore. And so if you're talking about the risks ahead, it's just like the fund saying that, well, we understand that your gold purchase program, your domestic gold purchase program is scaling up. And because of that, there are down risks attached to it. You're going to buy more gold. You're going to be exposed to higher risk. And the question is, who is going to bear this cost? If it's the Bank of Ghana, then the Bank of Ghana is going to have a difficult situation because they're going to have their balance sheet being affected. Because already, Bank of Ghana had to take in that $128 million loss from the gold for oil program.
Right.
And now we are talking about gold board initiative and trading losses. That is accounting for about $240 million as far as the gold for reserve program is concerned. Now, many are doing some sort of comparative analysis, Ken.
Yeah.
If you look at, remember last year, for instance, when we had this similar report that said that the gold for oil program, which was introduced under the previous administration, a key program of the former Vice President, Dr. Baumia, had brought in some $128 million loss, which around that time was about, some billion, Ghana cedis.
Right.
And people spoke about it, right? But if you do the comparative analysis, gold for oil, for instance, in an entire year of 2024, the losses attached was $128 million, US dollars. If you're comparing it to the, the domestic gold purchase program. But this year, for instance, we've done only about 9 months of accounting period for the gold board initiative and the trading and the off-takers, risks that are exposed and all of that.
Yeah.
And it cost around $240 million. And there were a lot of people who raised this concern that, well, the gold board initiative is a good initiative. But if you don't block some of these loopholes, you may end up like Cocoa Board, which every year you may be piling up debt, because if this debt cannot sit on the balance, on the sheet or the books of the Bank of Ghana, the key question is whose books is this going to sit on? Because the IMF has directed that the $128 million debt, losses that was made under the gold for oil program should be transferred to the government books.
Yeah.
So the key question is, who is going to bear this $240 million, loss? Is it going to sit with the Bank of Ghana? And if it's sitting with the Bank of Ghana, it's going to complicate the Bank of Ghana's, position at the moment, because they themselves are looking for monies for recapitalization. Because of the DDEP program, they got some significant impairment there, and they are looking for money. And remember, the finance minister said that, well, look within. You have assets, try and see how you can actually solve this situation, because we, the government, or we, the central bank, cannot come in and give you about 40 billion or 50 billion, cedis to recapitalize. And so if there are programs like Gold Board and, gold for oil, gold for reserve programs, which are posing significant, impairment to the Bank of Ghana, then the fund is saying that we need to take a critical look at that, because if we continue to go on this, the risk is that we're going to have downside risks attached to some of this initiative, which probably is going to put the Bank of Ghana in a very difficult, situation, Ken.
That's quite interesting. But if we don't go yet, let's just stay a while on the IMF, because the International Monetary Fund has maintained Ghana's classification as a country at high risk of debt distress, even as the country records major improvements in its debt profile. Well, Ghana has already achieved the IMF program target of reducing debt to 55% of GDP, 3 years ahead of schedule, now standing at about 48%. However, the IMF says there exist some fundamental elements that leaves risks surrounding Ghana's debt elevated. And still in the studio is Isaac Ovieje with our research team. He's the head of that particular desk. Isaac, let's go through this one. Why is the IMF still classifying Ghana as a high-risk debt distress when the numbers really are looking very low?
In fact, if you remember last week or last 2 weeks, we published a story that actually said that Ghana's debt in the third quarter rose by some 70 billion cedis because of the exchange rate, vulnerabilities. It's the same factor that the IMF is, citing that, well, you may have your debts being reduced from the highs of 700 billion cedis to about 613 or 610 billion, Ghana cedis. But we still feel that, according to the IMF staff, their judgment, the judgment they pass on Ghana's debt status, it's clear that they still see Ghana as a country which is still high risks of debt distress. It means that defaulting could be possible if we remain in high debt distress. Why are they saying that? Because they still believe that the significant, your external component of your debt stock is really driven by your exchange rate. And so in periods where your exchange rate isn't in a very good position or isn't in a positive situation, it's going to affect your debt, like we saw in the third quarter. And when you have it in a very good position, like we saw in the second quarter, you may see your debt, decreasing. So they believe that even after the restructuring we've done from the debt forgiveness to moratorium and all of that, the IMF still sees Ghana as a country that is still at high risk of debt, distress, especially if you look at it from the judgment of the staff. And they are really, really going heavy on the tangent of the exchange rate, which they believe that the exchange rate is going to be a key factor in determining where our debt distress status will be in 2026 or the years ahead. Remember, the IMF passed a comment in the report, which I think is very interesting. They say that, well, because of the current vulnerabilities that exist in our exchange rate, environment, it will be premature for them, the IMF, to conclude that or to upgrade Ghana's debt status to any better. They still believe that they have to maintain the debt distress status because once there are shocks from commodity, external commodities, the international commodity prices and all of that, gold, for instance, is key here. Once anything of that status happens or that structure happens in the global space, it's going to have a significant impact on Ghana's debt status. That's why they are a bit hesitant in upgrading the country's debt status from where it is currently. And they're also very mindful that if you look at the debt restructuring we did, for instance, in 2026, we are expecting some $1.4 billion or $1.5 billion in debt, relief because of the restructuring that was done by the previous administration. If we are not able to go through that process, that's also going to have a big impairment on our balance of payments, even though the balance of payment gap has reduced significantly because of the restructuring that was done. But significantly, the IMF believes that, well, we don't really see your exchange rate, situation as one that we can stand on it and say that, well, we feel that we should upgrade you. They still feel that vulnerabilities exist, and because of the fluctuations they see in the exchange rate, it will be difficult for the fund to say that, well, we are upgrading, because they've seen it this year. Even this year, where we've pumped in about $10 billion to save the city, we've had a roller coaster where first quarter was very stable. Second quarter, the city saw an appreciation by more than 40% against the dollar. Third quarter depreciated by more than 20% against the dollar. And we are seeing a cocktail of appreciation and depreciation in the fourth quarter. And the IMF is looking at all of these factors and saying that because of these factors, it will be difficult to upgrade you from your current debt distress status that we've actually placed on you.
Isaac Ovieje, always a pleasure to have you in the studio. He's the head of research here at Joy News. Let's talk some politics now, because former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia continues to lead the New Patriotic Party's presidential race. But a new poll indicates a tightening contest as Kennedy Agyapong gains ground. The Global Info Analytics survey puts Dr. Baumia at 45%, while Mr. Kennedy Japan is rising to 31%. Dr. Brian Champon is trailing at 3%, while 20% of respondents are either undecided or decline to disclose their choice, pointing to a more competitive race despite Dr. Baumia's clear lead. Let's take you through some of the findings of the polls that was conducted by Global Info Analytics. So these are the figures. This is how it's looking like. It asked that who leads MPP in 2028, the likely voters model, and then Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is leading with 45%. Kennedy Ohene Japan is trailing with 31%. You can see Brian Champon with 3%, Dr. Yao Seyaduchum 0%, and Kwabene J. Japan is also 0%. And 11%, according to Global Info Analytics poll, the undisclosed, and 9% of the potential or likely voters say they are undecided. The poll also asked, will there be unity after campaign? And this is comparing two different dates. And then the time period is the 24th or 25th of November. It had 87%, 89% saying yes. The poll of 25th December also has the same number of 89% saying yes. But it is the no that you see a bit of a difference. So if you look at the one that they did in November, the ones that are saying that there will be no unity after the campaign were 3%. Now, that percentage has risen by 3 to 6% in the recent poll that was conducted by Global Info Analytics. And 8% of the people that were polled in November say that they have no opinion on as to whether or not there will be unity after the campaign or not. And then 5% say they have no opinion in the latest poll in December. So that's the interesting analysis that Global Info Analytics has put in their survey there. Let's get more on this and speak to Musa Dankwa. He's a pollster with Global Info Analytics. We also have Dr. Ikuya Amwako. She's the deputy spokesperson for the Bawumia campaign team. And Kwabi Amwa also speaks for the Kennedy Japan campaign team as well. Gentlemen and lady, grateful for your time this afternoon. Let me begin with you, Mr. Musa Dankwa. How did you arrive at these pollings?
All right, thank you very much for having me. We sampled 3,500 delegates randomly across over 260 constituencies. And we've been posing this question to them for the past 4 months or so, including who would you vote for in the MPP primaries. And what we've seen is a bit of realignment of the numbers in the December poll. Now, if you look at the current poll, Bawumia is on 45%. That is up 43% from last time. And Kennedy, on the other hand, is on 31%, up from, I think, 18 or 19%. So you can see that Kennedy made huge gains, but Bawumia too made a slight gain. Now, what you see is that there are those who were undecided who are breaking down for the candidates, and those who are not disclosing also breaking out. From what we have seen, those who broke out to Kennedy were largely people from a group of people who said they were not disclosing, and now they're disclosing. Also, a number of people who said they were undecided also deciding, and some going to Bawumia and some going to Kennedy. But you could see Brian lost 2%, and that 2% went to Kennedy.
That's quite interesting, though. The other interesting aspect was whether or not there will be unity after the campaign. You have similar percentages from November and December as well. It appears that not much changed there.
No, what has changed slightly is those who say they don't have an opinion. I mean, having looked at the campaign in the last 2 weeks and how it's been a bit below the belt for many, you have seen that the delegates are a bit worried. Those who did not have opinion about unity now have firm opinion that the way it's going, the division will be something that they may have to deal with. And it's doubled from 3%, 6%. That is worrying.
You've mentioned that there's been slight gains for the two leading contenders, but really, who really stands to gain in your latest polling?
I think Kennedy made a lot of gains, huge gains. But what is helping Baumia is that gain didn't come at a loss to him. He didn't lose ground to Kennedy. Just those who were in the not disclosing column and not decided are the ones who are breaking to Kennedy. And Baumia got a bit of that. If Baumia was losing grounds by losing votes to Kennedy, then he would be worried. At the moment, he's on 45%, and you need only 50% plus one to win. So he is much closer to the finish line than Kennedy is.
Another aspect of your polling says that Baumia is leading with 56% among committed voters in your latest polling. What does that really mean, committed voters?
It simply means that those who are bold and mention people by name, if you isolate those people and see what proportion of them are voting for who, then you see that Baumia is on 5-6%. Now, normally, these tend to be accurate to show you what will happen in the end if there were no people who were not disclosing. With the prevalence of not disclosing, this number tends to be slightly off the mark.
In the end, though, the emerging candidate or the one who will emerge victorious will need 50% to cross the finish line. And now it appears that none of the candidates has that. So which of them really should be worried?
All of them should be worried because you want to win convincingly. And Baumia, for him, he has to win and try and beat his performance last time. It's very unlikely he will do that this time around. I think that's the reality he must accept, or his campaign must accept, because I think this time the competition is very tough. You have Brian, who is doing a bit well. You have Kennedy also for mounting insurgency. So you don't expect to hold the same number of votes as last time. Kennedy, on the other hand, is hoping that his insurgency campaign will get him a lot more votes than he did last time. And for now, he is doing okay, but not exceedingly okay to outsmart or outfox the leader of the race at the moment.
I'm curious to know what the reasons they gave as to which candidate they would vote for. Let's start with Baumia. What did they say about him?
I think one thing that is working for him very well is the notion that if you present a candidate for the second time, he will do well. And they've been citing other cases where MPPs failed that candidates twice, and they did well. In some cases, they mentioned Nanado 3 times. Now, if you look at the question about do you share the notion that keeping someone twice there will help the candidate, you could see that in the last poll, about 59% of them were saying, yes, it will help. This time around, that number has reduced to 50%. And that's the reason why Kennedy made that huge gain. If he lost, or if he loses that argument about a second chance, then it will be very, very close. But from what we see today, if the polls are held today, I think he will still win.
What about Kennedy? What reason did they give for voting for him?
I think they like his kind of new approach, insurgency approach, make changes, radical changes in the party, attending to party base, and so on and so forth. And also they believe that maybe Baumia lost a bit last time. And for that matter, they don't think presenting him would be a good omen for the party. So they are thinking that bringing Kennedy would probably enhance MPP's chances. The problem, I mean, for Kennedy is the demography of MPP. And I think he needs to do a lot more than what he's currently doing. The demography of delegates are quite older and mature. And these people are very risk averse. They don't like gambling. And for some of them, voting for Kennedy may be a gamble.
That's quite interesting. Let's talk about the remaining 3 candidates. Altogether, they had 3% with Kwabene J. Japon and then Yao Osei-Aduchum having 0%. And we
it is near 0 because it's not absolute numbers.
Yeah.
It's 0 point something, 0.4,
Yeah.
0.3.
Yeah.
But when you sum them up, it becomes slightly 0. So altogether, the other candidates and Brian have about 4 points. 4%.
It's interesting, though, really much attention has not been paid to the 3 other candidates. But if you look at their numbers, who is appreciating and who is depreciating amongst the 3?
If you look at the 3, they've all lost grounds this time around. And Brian lost 2% compared to last time. So Brian was somehow gaining some momentum. But in the last 4 weeks, he has lost a bit of ground to Kennedy. So he needs to really watch his campaign. If you look at the regional numbers that we have put out there, you could see that Baumia is winning or leading in 13 out of the 16 regions, whereas in Ashanti region, the dead heat in Ashanti region. And also Kennedy is leading in the Central region and also Bota region.
I still have Dr. Ekwe Amwako and then also Kobe Amwa with me from the camps of Baumia and Kennedy, Japan, respectively. I will come to you, ladies and gentlemen, but I want to wrap up with you, Musa Dankwa. When you look at the figures that you've had, according to your latest poll, does it mean that the election is likely to go for a runoff?
From today, I wouldn't say so. But I wouldn't know what the numbers will be in 4 weeks' time when our last poll comes out. From that poll, we can tell definitely whether the race is going to go on in the runoff or it will be one touch for any of them.
Musa Dankwa is the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics. Thank you very much. Let's now bring in the politicians. Dr. Ekwe Amwako is the Deputy Spokesperson for the Baumia campaign team. Kobe Amwa is also a spokesperson for the Kennedy, Japan campaign team. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the program. Let me begin with you, Dr. Amwako. Looking at the current polling, is the Baumia campaign confident?
Hi, first let me say good afternoon to you and all those who are watching from across the country. I've had the time to meet a lot of you guys, and so let me just say a big Merry Christmas to you first. Now to your question, I believe this is not the first time polls have come out. We evaluate all the polls that come out, all the credible polls that come out, and then we see what we can learn from them to improve our campaign, and we've been doing that. If you've taken a clear look at the Global Info Analytics poll, you would see that His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is still clearly in the lead. I woke up this morning and I found it very funny that our opponents, who are still trailing by more than 10 points, found cause to jubilate. I mean, I wish I could inherit some of their blind optimism, because I don't see how you're trailing and you're happy. If the elections were held today, by this poll, you are not winning. So I don't see what is there for them to jubilate about. But for us on the Baumia side, we've always remained focused. The goal that we are trying to achieve with this campaign has always been simple. We are trying to bring back the love in MPP. We are trying to reassure the delegates that we have a leader who is capable of bringing us victory. We are reminding the delegates that we have such a formidable asset in His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia that the onus is now on us to do what best we can to help him become president so that we can lead Ghana into more progress. The message has been very simple. It's been going down well, and so we will remain focused on that. If you want to go into the nitty-gritties of the poll, I was just looking at the same Global Info Analytics poll for the 2023 MPP primary. And just give me a second to pull that up on my phone. The figures were looking very similar to what we have now with regards to where His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was standing and Honorable Ken. But when election day came, things fell in place, and then we all saw what happened. So this is, I mean, we are in the lead. There's no reason for us to worry too much. But as I said, we are not the type that get complacent. If you've seen the campaign of His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, he's campaigning as though he's starting from ground zero. We are making sure to touch base with every delegate from every corner of the country. And we've been doing that even across the Christmas, the holiday season. We've taken a break for a couple of days. Now we are in Greater Accra. And if you look at the way we scheduled our campaign tour, we left the more populous regions, that's the Greater Accra and Ashanti region, for last. So the Bawumia campaign has not been to Ashanti region yet. And we've only started in Greater Accra. We've done about 2 days in Greater Accra. And if you've been following, my brother, the reception and the warmth that we've been getting from the delegates in Greater Accra has been awesome. They are making it clear. And this time, it is not members of parliament that are given the endorsement, so that our brothers and sisters on the other side come and spin and say we are leaving the grassroots behind. No, this time it is the grassroots. We go to certain constituencies and there are, say, 20 electoral area coordinators. I'm pretty sure you are conversant with the structure of a party, but they man the polling stations. So if you are able to get about 18 out of 20, and it's been consistent almost everywhere we've gone to, electoral area coordinators coming out boldly to assure His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia that they are going to do their best and work to support him for victory 2026 and beyond. I think it's an encouraging message, and we are going to continue to do the best that we can. And we are very confident that come January 31st, the delegates will make the right choice for the people of Ghana.
Dr. Akuyamwa, don't go yet. I'll come back to you. Let me now bring in Kobi Amwa with the Kennedy Japan campaign team. Kobi, your sister, or if I should put it that way, Dr. Amwako, is saying that there's no cause for jubilation because you're trailing by more than 10% in the latest polling. Does she have a point? Why is your camp jubilating when you're trailing by more than 10% in the latest polling?
My lighter side, so you're not wrong at all. I think that anything like for any time you see a poll, there are two things you look at. That's the credibility of.
Unfortunately, it appears we lost Kobi Amwa there, but we'll try and reconnect with him. But I still have Dr. Ikuya Amwako on the line. Dr. Amwako, you were saying that you were in a lead. That's a very infamous word used by Guinean politicians. We're in a comfortable lead. Now, this poll, once upon a time, had your candidate somewhere around 70%, and now he's fallen to a little above 40%. Does it not worry your camp?
No, I don't think I've seen a global info analytics poll on MPP delegates where we were around 70%. You might have to provide that for me.
Yes.
It's always been, yes. And even when I was listening a bit when Musa Dankwa was speaking, even he stated that fact that it's always been around the 40s from his poll, if we are looking at just his poll. Other pollsters have put out their work. I saw really good work done by Conrad, the Conrad Adenauer Foundation, also having slightly higher figures, but it's still about the same range. We've also seen polls from APL, but I've not seen a global info analytics poll where we've come from 70%. I don't think he's ever put us at 70%, because I've been following his polls keenly.
But you're still not above 50%. That is the threshold that is needed to win this particular primaries. Does that not really worry you in the camp?
No. You see, polls are something that as politicians going into a campaign, you take a look at. And we also have a lot of internal polling. Those we usually do not put out. But we also have a lot of internal mechanisms to let us know our strengths and weaknesses and where to improve and whatnot. The polls, the position of His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, even going by the Global Info Analytic poll, has been consistent. I can remember the first one he brought out somewhere in August was around 40-something. I can't be sure. But it's been consistent around that region. And like I said earlier, if you compare it to the polls he put out in 2023, going into our primaries, I'm just trying to pull that up for you now. I think the story was actually made by Joy. Yes, let me pull that. At that point, this was right a month before the primary. At that point, he had put His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia at 43 and Kennedy Japan at 23%. And at that point, there were even speculations of a runoff. This was in 2023, a month before the election, at 43%. And in the end, we saw what we did. So if right now we are almost there, with a large number of undecideds and undisclosed, and you are almost at 50%, I do not think that there's cause to worry, really. And so I would want to encourage all of the people that are supporting His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, those who are undecided and everything, that right now we are looking at coming up with a united front. So we need a person, we need a leader who is not divisive. I don't know if you've been monitoring things that have been happening in the media of late. One of our opponents, I think when campaigning somewhere in the Ashanti region, and the tone and the nature of the campaign, was so divisive to the point that the communication officers of the party in the Ashanti region, about 90% of them felt the need to hold a press conference and send a little caution to the aspirants to ensure that their campaigns are not extremely divisive, because the onus will fall onto the party to clean up everything that has been done in the name of campaigning and in the past few months. So I think it's very clear that the spirit of the MPP, as I always say, is still behind Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. All you need to do is to have gone around the country and to see the excitement that people have and the confidence that people give us, that, we see what you are doing. We are very pleased with what you are doing. Continue, because we need a leader that can hold the party together. We need a leader whose temperament is not divisive.
Right.
So I think that's been, and just like Musa said, the demographic of the party is very conservative. They are not the type to fall for some of the antics that our opponents are putting out. And so I would hope that now that we're in the home stretch, we will all re-infuse some dignity and decorum back into the politics, leave the tribal and ethnic sentiments that have been proven to have very little bearing on our election aside, because these are all problems MPP as a party would have to face head-on post January 31st. But like I said, we do not have complacency in our books. If you've ever been in a position to work with His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, you understand very well what I'm saying. He's one of the most hardworking people you ever come across. He's still going to wake up at dawn, and we are on and going to campaign. So you're still going to see the campaign move around. I'm very sure that the endorsements that we've been receiving in Greater Accra is going to continue. I'm very sure that the delegates in Greater Accra want to send a clear message as to where they are, so that the party can remain together and we can keep pushing forward.
Dr. Amwako, Kobe Amwa is back on the line. Kobe, I believe your line is better now and you can hear me. I was asking you why, according to Dr. Amwako's camp, that you are trailing by more than 10%, and it appears that you are jubilating already. That's not victory, is it?
So, as I was trying to say earlier, anytime you polls, there are two things you look out for. The credibility of the data. The credibility of the data, that's one, and also the methodology. I've been following Mr. Danquest's poll on this election for a very long time, since we started. And even as of last month, Kennedy was at 18%. So if you think it's just a 10% margin, that 10% margin, Kennedy had an extra 13%, even like within the space of a month. So I don't think that is really the point. The point is, how well are the candidates doing? How well are the delegates responding to the campaigns of the candidates? Kennedy started at 17. Within a space of, he started at 17, he was at 17 for a while. Bawumia started at over 50. He's come down to around 40, around 45, 44, and he's plateaued. He's not had any significant increase since then. Kennedy has moved 13 points up within the space of a month. I think that is cause for worry for them. Obviously, I know if you are very, very well. I don't think it's something that they will admit, but I know this is causing a lot of panic in their team. I think as Team Kennedy, what we are doing is we are just focus on our messaging. It's very obvious our message is working. Let me just one indicator. The first poll actually says that the reason that a lot of the delegates were voting for Dr. Bawumia was the fact that they believe that he deserved a second chance. After our message went down very well, everyone has realized that it's going to be difficult for him to, a second chance for him is going to pose challenges for the party, because even with the first opportunity we gave him, the performance was not good enough to warrant a second chance, and second chances have historically, through the history of the party, been given based on performance. So it's obvious that our message is going down. It's obvious that the campaign is doing well. And we've seen other polls that have put Kennedy ahead. I think that we are really focused on our messaging. We are really focused on letting people know the kind of person Kennedy is, what Kennedy has to offer to the party and to Ghanaians at large. I don't know if you give me the chance to respond to two things that my mistake.
Go ahead.
If you have other questions. So yes, we spoke about the fact that he thinks that Dr. Bawumia is the one to unite the party. The party was given to him from the 2020 results. The MPP had 6.7 million votes. And due to a lot of factors, including disunity, our votes was reduced from 6.7 to 4.6. So if you are looking for someone who can unite the party, it's definitely not Dr. Bawumia, because he couldn't even protect what was given to him the last time. It was through that electioneering process that we even had the likes of Alanche Martin and all moving out and forming their own political party. Then he also mentions the fact that a group of communicators from Ashanti region have organized a press conference against Kennedy. But I would like to ask the question, where was this press? This press conference was organized at Dr. Bawumia's campaign office. And it's very funny when we try to create a certain impression and people try to arrange like things like this to create a certain impression, which is obviously not working. I think the Kennedy team is focused. Kennedy is focused on his message, which is number one, to create jobs for the people, number two, to create jobs for Ghanaians, number three, to create jobs for the Ghanaians. And I think the party delegates have understood that if we really want power, if we are really serious about getting power in 2028, then Dr. Bawumia is not the candidate. Recently, I remember Dr. Bawumia got into trouble with Dr. Bawumia's camp because I think he made a certain assertion that Dr. Bawumia promised or he campaigned on the fact that he had the support of the Zongo community. But if you look at the number of Zongo communities in Ghana, he won only one. And you see people trying to skew it to define what a Zongo, a community definitely may include a couple of polling stations. For instance, if you go to Medina, there's a huge Zongo community there with a couple of polling stations. But if you take them community by community, the polling stations in each community, to look at it from the analysis from a community perspective. For instance, when we had the Zongo Development Fund, we looked at Zongos as communities, not as polling stations. And that was how developmental support was given. And if you look at all these, like from that data, it was only one Zongo in the whole country that our candidate was able to win. Out of the 15 regions, there were 7 regions where our candidates couldn't win just a single constituency. So I think the party people have realized that we need a change in candidates, and the party people have decided to rally behind Kennedy.
What's the nature of your campaign now? We know that it's Christmas Eve, but politicians never rest. How is the campaign going?
So far so good. I came back from the Volta region, Volta Noti region, with Honorable Natoshi, joined the Volta Noti. Honorable Kennedy was in the Ashanti region. He's taking a short break. He's going to return to the Ashanti region. There's still a lot going on, a lot of background meetings, a lot of influencers, and also trying to arrange logistics for the D-Day. Mind you, we are just about 39 days to the elections, so there are a lot of things that are also happening at the background. But our official campaign activities are going to resume somewhere around the 28th of this month.
Right. Dr. Amwako, briefly, you two, how is the campaign? How is the Bawumia campaign going? In 30 seconds.
The Bawumia campaign is going well. You know, this 30 seconds you've given me will not be enough for me because... For the sake of time. Yes, I'll try and make it very brief. He has used this opportunity to introduce a lot of propaganda that has to be debunked. You see, when you run your entire campaign on this person has gone once, he didn't win, so we should not present the person again. When that goes against the culture of the party, you are fighting against yourself. I have one question for Kwabena Amoah. How is he so sure that his candidate would have done better? The NDC has a treasure trove of tapes of things that the candidate himself has said that I cannot even repeat on your show this afternoon because it would be very distasteful. So that is what the MPP has awaiting them if we make that mistake. And I think the delegates are very much aware of that. And to quickly dispel this Zongo polling station argument, I have one question for you, my dear friend. Are votes counted in polling stations or they are counted in communities? If to make your argument, you have to play some word gymnastics, it just means it doesn't hold any water. There are several polling stations in Zongo communities where His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia won the election. And so that lie that they've been peddling needs to stop. To say his own people, again, did not vote for him is an absolute lie. The results of the election are public record, and everybody knows that His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is from Wale Wale constituency in the Northeast region. Wale Wale constituency is the only constituency where our votes increased by 25% in the last election, and you can fact check me on that. In the Northeast region, our votes increased by 10%. So you can fact check me on that. So that argument, that lie, that the intentional perpetuate that his own people did not vote for him holds no water. To contrast, in Central region, we lost the region, even though we were made to believe that at that point, Honorable Kennedy Apongo was with the campaign and helping the MPP go and win the election. We lost Central region. We lost his seat where he was Member of Parliament for 24 years. The MPP suffered a brutal defeat in 2024. That's a fact. But we have to do some introspection and be honest with ourselves as to what caused that and how to get out from that. And stop this blame game of trying to carry everything at the sins of everybody and put it on the person that does not deserve it. Because if we want to sit there and apportion blame, I think you would need to give me a whole day to do it properly.
Indeed. Dr. Kuyamwako, thank you very much. The 72% that I was mentioning about the Global Info Analytics was, in fact, on the supporters of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia who voted for him in 2024. They say that they still want him to lead the party in 2020.
Exactly. So that's a different metric.
Thanks
but
for that.
For the delegates, and again to correct Kobiam, for the delegates election, Global Info Analytics has never put His Excellency above 50. It was always in the 40s. So if you look at it, he's actually appreciated by 2 points. And what this means is that the people that believe in Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia that voted for him in 2023 are still standing behind him. Exactly by the point I made by showing you the poll that Global Info Analytics put out in 2023. So just as I said, we remain focused. We will ask for your prayers and blessings to guide us as we go around the country and touch base with the party. We are just trying to bring back the love of MPP.
Right. Thank you very much. Dr. Kuyamwako is the deputy spokesperson for the Bawumia campaign team. And earlier, we heard from Kobiamwa, who is also a spokesperson for the Kennedy Japan campaign team. And a bit earlier, we heard from Musa Dankwa, who is the executive director of Global Info Analytics. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more stories. Don't go anywhere. You're welcome back. The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority has suspended the rollout of the new vehicle number plate registration system, which was scheduled to take effect on January 2nd, 2026, pending parliamentary approval. Well, during a press conference in Accra, the Chief Executive Officer of the authority, Julius Nikwe-Kote, explained that although Parliament successfully passed amendments to the Road Traffic Act, the specific amendments required for Legislative Instrument 2180 were not completed before Parliament went on recess last Friday. Fatal Bayaga has more in the following report.
The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority earlier this year announced the introduction of a new license plate system. The initiative is aimed at conforming to modern technology by introducing radio frequency identification embedded plates to ensure traceability and promote road safety. The Chief Executive Officer of the authority, Julius Nikwe-Kote, says due to the absence of parliamentary approval for some provisions in the relevant legislation, the DVLA has suspended the rollout of the new license plate registration system.
Due to the fact that the LI 2180 amendments have not gone through, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, announces to the general public the suspension of the impending rollout of new license plates slated for 2nd January 2026.
He further explained that this means vehicle owners currently using DP stickers and DV plates may continue to do so, pending the announcement of a new timeline by the authority.
The DVLA announces extended use of the current drive from port plate, a drive from port sticker, that is DP, the DP sticker, as well as the DV plate, different defective vehicle plates. You know, we changed from DP plates to DP stickers. So now DP is stickers, but DV still remains plates. This means that anyone who has the DP sticker on their vehicle as well as the DV plates on their vehicle could continue to use them up to a time limit to be announced by the authority in due course.
Mr. Kote also criticized the Vehicle Enforcement Association of Ghana for filing an injunction at the Accra High Court to halt the process, describing both the action and the reasons cited as untenable.
The one who won the contract, Mr. Dasibre, has opened his arms that, okay, there are 3 companies in the world that deal with RFID. We have one we call Tongis, they are in Germany. We have Uta, they are in Poland. And then we have Gov't, they are in China. We've been to the China one with the Tenga team to inspect them. They are okay. We are yet to go to the other ones. But as I speak with you now, we have not engaged anyone. So please, you can take this one to the public and we'll meet them in court. So they will show us where they have the contract with, and we've truncated it and we're giving it out. What we know, I know we have with them, is memorandum of understanding. That from January to December. From January to December, they were not even being paid. When I got to office, then your boy and co brought to my thing that, oh, the people are working and they've not been paid. And I think in the month of August, I signed for Mr. Mpedu, the finance man, to pay them because they've been working.
The authority has assured the public that the new license plate rollout will take effect once all outstanding legislative requirements are approved by Parliament. For Joy News, Fatal Bayaga, Accra.
Well, let's get more on this and speak to Jojo Bruce Kwanzaa. He's the spokesperson for the Vehicle Enforcement Association of Ghana. Jojo, thank you very much for your time. How do you welcome this news by the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority about the suspension of the registration, which was supposed to happen on the 2nd of January?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And let me greet and wish all your listeners a Merry Christmas. You see, we didn't anticipate this. We thought that the DVLA will call us and then we can talk over this amicably. But unfortunately, the CEO refused to meet us. And all our attempts to meet him and talk over these things failed. That was why we went to court. In fact, he actually asked us to go to court. He asked us to go to court if we don't understand what he's trying to do. And that is the reason why we went to court. What we see is that he's trying to create the impression that it is the DVLA that is seeking to suspend the digitalization of the number plate. But in actual fact, it is the court, because there's an interlocutory injunction placed on the DVLA. And so from now till when we meet in court, they cannot produce the numbers, and we can also not produce until we sort out things in the court.
And what are your issues, Jojo?
The issue is that, look, from time immemorial, Vermac has been producing number plates for the DVLA. And we do that at our own cost. When we give them the plate, they sell the plate, take their profit before they pay us. You see? So we don't understand why a job that we have been performing for you, and you don't incur any cost. We incur all the cost. And then you pay us later after you sold it. So we don't see why today Vermac has been around for time immemorial. Government come, government go. There's no issue. But now, the CEO is trying to tell us that we don't matter. He just wants to wipe us off. He just wants to wipe us off with our 3,000 employees. And 3,000 employees, you know, even the president wants to create jobs for more people. So how do you come and then lay off 3,000 people? You see?
Have you been given?
We are saying that.
Have you been given any reason why? Have you been given any reason?
He has not given us any reason. All our attempts to meet him and talk this issue over, he doesn't want to even He doesn't even want to see us, see our faces.
Are you owed any amount by the DVLA?
Yes, yes.
How much?
In fact, as I'm speaking to you, they haven't paid us for. In fact, we just received the October money today.
Today?
So now we have the November and December yet to be paid us.
How much is that?
Well, I mean, it's a lot because it's all over the country. Even Accra alone, it runs into some millions of cities.
You mentioned that you do the work before getting paid. That means, I'm assuming that this means that it is standard practice for them to owe you October monies, right?
Well, what we are saying is that, you see, we don't change them to pay us. They pay us when they want to pay us. We don't go to them asking them, look, why is it that it's the end of the month and you have not paid us? We don't do that. They pay us when they want to pay us. So if we are doing this kind of business with you, why do you now want to wipe us out and bring in another set of people when we have been doing this for the past 40 years?
Have you got any idea the new association that has been tasked to do your work that you used to do for the DVLA?
Pardon, please repeat the question.
I'm asking if you are aware of any other association or organization that has been tasked to do the work that you used to do for the DVLA now that they are not giving you the contract again.
You see, the normal plate business, we have manufacturers and we have embossers.
Right.
The manufacturers get the aluminum plate and then we will emboss for the DVLA. Now, if you are an embosser, you cannot be a manufacturer.
Okay.
And if you are a manufacturer, you cannot be an embosser. But now he wants to give the job to one person who will be an embosser and a manufacturer at the same time. You see? But the ally that set up the DVLA specifically states that if you are an embosser, you cannot be a manufacturer. And if you are a manufacturer, you cannot be an embosser. So why does he want to go against that law?
Right. Mr. Jojo.
And what our intelligence tells us that he wants to bring new people.
Right.
He wants to bring new people into the system. And that is what we are against. We don't mind the changes that are coming because we are up for it. And we don't also mind if the DVLA want to increase the number of embossers. But you don't bring in new people and then you wipe out the old people. You don't do that.
Right. Mr. Jojo Bruce Kwanzaa, thank you very much. He's the spokesperson for the Vehicle Embossment Association of Ghana. Let's talk education now because government says it has secured $200 million to scrap the double track system. The Minister of Education, Haruna Idrisu, says the government has secured that amount of money to end the double track system as part of efforts to strengthen the free senior high school program.
Also note that many of them did not have adequate contact hours with teachers because of almighty double track. They spend less time with teachers, less time in the classroom than they should. We remain very committed, and government has secured $200 million from the World Bank to work to end double track. I should commend the St. Peter's School and Kwao as one of the first schools that have been able to end double track. So I'm going to reward them with infrastructure for going ahead of government with their own intervention to end double track system. All
right, so that's the Education Minister, Haruna Idrisu, who was speaking at the inauguration of the Governing Council's members and chair of the 4 colleges of Ghana in Accra, where he announced the Parliament has already approved amendments to the Get Fund Act, outlining the objectives the changes are intended to achieve.
About a week ago in Parliament, when we're taking through the GHC100m Amendment Act. We have done it. Excellency President Mahama today, if we are lucky, before he begins his holidays, will give presidential assent to the amended GHC100m Act and the revised Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Act. That has all been passed into law by the Parliament of Ghana. So in the debate on the GHC100m Amendment Act, a colleague member of Parliament for Wale Wale and my very good friend Kabiru, when we got to a provision, and the GHC100m Amendment Act, Yapeura, is to do three things. One, to give assured sustainable financing to free senior high school. Two, to give assured security and financing to free tertiary education for persons with disability. And three, to provide free education for learners with special needs.
Well, the minister further disclosed that the government has allocated 100 million Ghana cedis to support free education for persons with special needs, providing details on how the funding will be used.
What that means is that for John Dramani Mahama, an enduring legacy of his presidency will be reaching out to the marginalized, vulnerable of learners with special needs. We are dedicating, and I'm told by Chief Director who represents us at the GHC100m, that an amount of 100 million Ghana cedis.
Well, let's get more on this and speak to Dr. Peter Ante. He's the Executive Director at the Institute of Education Studies. Glad you could join me this evening. 200 million Ghana cedis earmarked to end the double-track system. Is that feasible?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers. Yes, I think that 200 million Ghana cedis can do a lot to improve the infrastructure in our various senior high schools, and that can lead to the elimination of double track as it's been anticipated by the Minister of Education. But as we are all aware, there are issues with budget allocations and disbursement in this country. So in as much as there is an allocation, we will also have to follow through to see whether these amounts will be disbursed in time to be able to achieve the purported aim of eliminating the double track. What becomes more important is that the minister is suggesting, as we all know, that the previous students had little contact hours because of the double track, which means that these 200 million Ghana cedis will not be able to, we will not be able to end double track within the next 1 year. And then there is also a batch of students that are also waiting to write their WASI in May, June, as has been announced. So what plans are in place for these students to ensure that they make up for the lost contact hours and to prevent another disaster of results when they write their WASI. So that is something that I think should occupy the minister's mind as he even look into the short to medium term to end the double track. There are immediate circumstances that might also give us the same results if we are ascribing the performance of the students to inadequate contact hours. Then they need to put in certain measures immediately to ensure that the contact hours are mapped up and the students are adequately prepared for their exams, whilst they will still be undergoing this double track system.
That was actually going to be my next question to you, because just this WASI, we've seen one of the worst results in years. But prior to that also, we saw some very good results. And within all these years, the double track system was still in place. So some will really argue, will it really have any impact on the studies of the kids in school if it is eventually scrapped?
That is why, you see, some of us have indicated that we should be very careful in ascribing reasons to students' performance when we have not had any scientific analysis of the results. So you might want to push in certain narratives to ensure that you absolve yourself from blame as to why students will not perform well. But that will not help the system. What will help the system is a rigorous analysis of the results, going through a proper scientific process to determine which schools did better and which schools didn't do better, so that we'll be able to establish how we are going to help them going forward. So yes, you might want to move away from the double track, but as you rightly said, students were still doing double track and some were able to perform, which means that the factors might differ from school to school. And therefore, anybody in education policy should be thinking about what he or she can do individual school-wise to ensure that student performances are improved going forward. So it would not be solely because of double track. It will not be solely because of other factors that have been put out by various analysts. It will be because we have analyzed individual schools and have seen what happened in each and every school, and we are providing targeted intervention to these schools so that their performance will improve coming 2026. I think that is what will answer the question, and not just by eliminating or introducing double track.
Dr. Peter Pate-Anti, thank you very much. He's the Executive Director at the Institute of Education Studies. Let's turn our attention now to Christmas, because it is already Christmas Eve. Yes, and parts of the capital, Accra, the Ashanti regional capital of Kumasi, and other regions across the country are experiencing intense gridlock as last-minute shoppers are rushing to business districts and bus terminals just in readiness for the big day tomorrow, Christmas. Well, at the OA bus terminal here in Accra, hundreds of people are queuing to board buses to various parts of the country to reunite with their families. Well, my colleague Stephen Mensah was there, also visited the Aveno livestock market here in Accra, where people are trooping in to buy goats and other livestock to enjoy.
Well, as you can imagine, it's barely 24 hours more to officially starting the Christmas, the birth of Jesus. Currently, we are at the OA station, close to the OA station, where there are a number of people selling livestock here. I'd want to engage some of them and pick their thoughts on how purchase has been so far here at the livestock markets close to the OA station. As you can see, there are a number of the livestock over here. And it's, you know about livestock already. Interesting scent, giving your meals an interesting smell and taste also. Where's Nasir? Okay. Let me get the thoughts of him. Chief, how has market been so far?
Actually, market is booming for now. Yeah.
When you say booming, how many have you been able to sell?
Yeah, just this morning we sold about 20 of our animals. So I can say market is booming. Yeah.
20 of your animals so far. How much does one cost?
Yeah, maybe from 150 and above. Yeah.
I want you to take me through which one is 150 and which one is 100 and the different prices available.
This one like this will be 150. This one 170. This one 200, and this will be 250.
But which types are these?
These are locals, a Fiat DNB. These are Fiat DNO. And we are located at Aveno Junction.
Aveno Junction, yes, right,
please.
Right.
Yes, please.
But then, how has the reception been for the Ghanaians who have been coming here or the other people who have been coming here? Are they complaining about the prices?
No, they are not complaining about the price, but the actual thing that disturbs us a lot here is the traffic. We need at least maybe 4 police officers to be directing the traffic so that there will be a movement and we can be able to sell. When the movement is choked, you see that people will be trying to come and then due to traffic, they cannot come around. Yeah.
But then what other things would you want to be done for you? I see a number of your colleagues here.
Yes.
Are you all selling the products?
Yeah, we are all selling it.
And there are different prices also?
Yeah, everybody with his own.
So what I see some other animals at the other far end.
Yeah.
What was that?
These are rams. Yeah. We used to be here. Not the occasion, we are always here. This is where we do business. We sell animals here.
Are you looking to subsidize? If someone comes saying, okay, I want you to reduce the prices for me, are you looking to
reduce? Actually, we do that. We do that. We can reduce some to 1,200, 1,300, something like that. Yes.
Okay. So that was Nazir. and he is one of the people selling the livestock over here, the goats over here. I'd want to get the thoughts of one of the buyers over here. Auntie, good morning and welcome to Joy News Desk. We want to talk to you briefly. You are here. I can see you purchasing. I can see you purchasing some of the livestock over here.
Yes.
What's the occasion?
Xmas. We are in Xmas, so something small for the boys.
Something small for the boys. I like that. What about the prices? Are you okay with the prices?
It's overwhelming, but since the season is here, we have no choice than to purchase.
I see you are buying two. Yes. All for this Xmas. Are we invited?
Oh, sure.
But then for these two, is it enough for you?
Oh, yeah, it's okay. It's okay for now. It's actually for me and my sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So each of us will take one. Yeah, at least. The 2025 has been a very hectic year. So at least something to calm the soul.
Interesting. Aside these animals you're buying, what else are you looking to do this Christmas?
Nothing new. Yeah, we go to church and give thanks to the Lord. And then that is all the celebration is about. It's about life.
Yeah. We know of interesting shows, interesting things happening in town. You're not looking to explore any of those?
No, really. Because of work issues, the timing do not favor us. We'll go to work. Yeah.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. Sorry, I didn't get your name. What's your name?
I'm Lizzie. Yeah.
Oh, that was Lizzie. She just purchased 2 goats, and she says it's all for the festive season. I'd want to engage more of the people here.
My name is William. Yeah, this one, we asked of this one, and he just said 2,200. And I asked to give 1,500. He said it's not okay. I also went to the other side. I saw some. They said 3,500. First, I went to St. John's before coming here. And then I noticed that the price at St. John's is better than here. So I'm going back to St. John's to get a better one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so you've moved all the way from St. John's all the way here?
Actually, we are from Amasamai. So we on the way coming, we were stopping at every store where they have the goods, and we were asking of the prices. And then
all this is in preparation for Christmas?
Yeah, for Christmas, you know. Actually, every Christmas we kill goat. Every Christmas we kill goat, you know, just to celebrate with the family. So, yeah, that's why we're here, yeah.
So aside these goats you are buying, what else are you looking to purchase?
Here at the market, just the goat. Just here.
Apart from this market you are going, where else are you looking to go to?
We'll be buying some fowl, and then later we have a car. We have electric problem, so we'll be going to Abosoka to visit. And then after that, we'll go to Accra to buy some few clothes, and then that's it. That's it for the day.
But then for this Christmas also, outside the things you are buying, what else are you doing?
We have invited our families to come around. I'm a twin. My twin brother is at Ebri. We've invited him, and then all our relatives around to come around. So we just pan fufu and eat with them, and then maybe tomorrow we'll go to the beach. You know, just taking it easy. You know, there's not much drama about it. Just taking it easy. You know. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Let me talk to the young lady here. You're here with mommy and daddy.
Yes.
How are you looking to celebrate Christmas? Mommy, daddy tells me that he's going to town to go and buy you dresses. Are you interested in that?
Yes.
Then what else really want to do?
Talk louder. Talk louder.
She's a little tense, but then you should understand her. Yes. Definitely, it will be Christmas festivities, Christmas period. I'm looking to go to the... Daddy tells me you're going to the beach. What else do you look fun things you want to do?
I want to celebrate the Christmas with my daddy and the mommy. You have fun.
Oh, as expected. She's been telling us what she would want to do for this Christmas. Enjoy the time with family and friends. Well, Noella, this is what I can report from the Aveno market where they sell the livestock. We've been speaking to some of the patrons who have been buying the livestock. The sellers themselves who tell us the prices of the livestock they're selling and how they're looking to ease the prices for buyers and also what they want the government to do for them. Reporting from the livestock market here in Aveno, I'm Stephen Mensah.
To the Ashanti regional capital of Kumasi, where heavy congestion has forced frustrated commuters to walk long distances After spending hours in bumper-to-bumper traffic, the Ashanti Regional Commander DCOP Arthur Osei Akoto says the traffic management and deployment efforts are in place and expected to yield positive results. Nana Yaojima has more in this report.
Major routes across the Ashanti Regional Capital have been overwhelmed by a surge in number of vehicles entering the city. Long queues stretch across busy corridors including Kejetia, Sofoline, Edum, Bantama and Abripo Junction, with some passengers spending up to 4 hours waiting for transportation. Vehicular congestion is widespread in parts of the city. Regional Commander DCOP Osei Akoto explains strategies to deal with the situation.
But problems they are multifaceted. A funny be
some police personnel are to blame for the problem. Driver indiscipline is another problem. Now tricycles are all on the road creating problems. We are educating the drivers and doing our best to improve the traffic situation.
Christmas cars now personal.
All security services and military in the Ashanti region have committed personnel to ensure an incident-free Christmas. The efforts, coordinated by the Regional Security Council, anticipate possible security threats during the Yuletide. As part of the strategies, joint security agencies paraded through Kumasi streets to demonstrate their force. Addressing the parade, Operation Commander of the military in the Ashanti region, Colonel Abbas Atubu, indicated that the united force and other strategies being rolled out guarantee resident safety.
This morning, we have been able to send a strong signal to the people of the region that the security agencies are ready, prepared, and willing to guarantee incident-free, crime-free, and a peaceful Xmas.
The renewed unity among security agencies is expected to extend beyond Christmas.
On your behalf, I am assuring the rep of the regional minister that from today onwards, let me say going forward, we are going to display unity and a common sense of purpose, translating into effective and efficient service delivery to the good people of Ghana.
For Joy News, Nana Yaojima, Kumasi.
And back here in the capital, the Greater Accra Regional Police says it is deploying more plainclothes personnel for intelligence gathering, intensifying patrols and increasing visibility. Director of Public Affairs at the Greater Accra Regional Police Service, Superintendent Juliana Obin, has the details.
Ensure that your doors, your windows are secured at every point in time. I am in my house every time and my doors are always locked. Even if I got a call and said, okay, I am coming to you, or there's a rider that I am expecting, I still go through my louvers, just peep and see that this is actually the person that we're looking at. I already shared the bit where you don't allow kids to open doors for strangers. And then again, I'd advise that when you're traveling out of your house, at least inform your neighbor. Let us get to establish that relationship with our neighbor. If you're leaving the house, you're able to tell your next door neighbor, I am not in the house at the moment. Can you please help me take care of the house? I am not expecting anybody. Should you see anybody around the house, please give me an alert, or please alert the police for me. Let's do that. Let's encourage ourselves to do that. And please, let's keep emergency contacts available. It's very important, extremely important. All right, so for crime hotspot for us this Christmas, the market areas, the churches, the beaches, where we're going to have the major events, the event centers, And for some event organizers, we have met with them, we've had the arrangements properly planned out to give absolute security for them. Again, for the churches, tomorrow, I know a lot of people are going to church, we'll be there in our numbers. Even those who have not invited us will still be there. We have given adequate numbers to a lot of the major churches and even the minor ones to be sure that every church in the city is covered.
Still on security, the Minister of the Interior, Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak, says Ghana's development depends on a peaceful environment, affirming the government's commitment to providing the necessary security infrastructure to ensure the peace required for development. At the opening of the National Signals Bureau Command in Sunyani in the Bunu region, the minister assured the chiefs and residents of their safety and charged the command's staff not to use the facility to intimidate or extort the public. Precious Semavo has more in this report.
As part of the government's renewed focus on national security, critical security infrastructure is being upgraded and extended to strategic locations nationwide. In the Bunu region, the National Signals Bureau has commissioned a new command to enhance security operations and also support Ghana's national security framework. At the commissioning ceremony in Sunyani, attended by chiefs, security officials, ministers, and members of parliament, the National Security Coordinator, COP Abdul Razak Osman, highlighted the importance of the command to the region.
Modern threats are complex. They are technology-driven and often invisible. Intelligence and early warning, therefore, are now the central architectural beam of all securities in the world. The Bunu region is significant because it has a strategic commercial and transit hub linking the southern Ghana to the Middle Belt.
Director General of the National Signals Bureau, Dr. George Atabwatin, affirmed the Bureau's commitment to ensuring public safety.
This facility is purposely built and well equipped to strengthen the Bureau's regional coordination of operations, enhance intelligence collection, support regional security operations, and provide a high secure environment for sensitive and classified activities. We affirm our resolve to proactively neutralize digital and cyber-enabled threats before they materialize, ensure public safety, uphold the highest standards of professionalism, and at all times respect and protect the rights and freedoms of the people of this region.
Minister of Interior Alhaji Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak urged other security agencies to fully utilize the facility. He also assured chiefs and residents that the command will operate responsibly to drive development and not be used to intimidate or extort the public.
This facility is established for your benefit. As a country, we can only develop in a peaceful environment. And this command is part of government's commitment to providing the framework to secure the peace that this region needs to develop. I therefore encourage you to embrace this command, support its personnel, and view it as a shared resource for your security and priority. To the Director General and the National Signal Bureau team, I commend your dedication. To the officers who will be serving here, you are entrusted with a significant responsibility. Serve the people of this region with diligence and respect. Please, don't use this as a license to intimidate people. Don't use this as a license to extort. Don't use this as a license to misbehave.
Precious Semevo, Joy News, Sunyani.
Well, in northern Ghana, one small sacred forest is doing what many big projects cannot. That is protecting a whole community from storm, heat, and climate change. In the farming community of Iwogu, the people say their forest, called Maltiti, is their guardian. Today on Climate Focus, Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin brings us this inspiring story of culture, faith, and climate resilience.
In the middle of Iwogu, a quiet farming community in the Savilgu area, there stands a forest the people call Maltiti, meaning do something good for us. It is only 12 acres wide, but to the people here, Maltiti is life. For more than 30 years, this forest has stayed green, while trees all around it disappeared. And in return, Iwogu protects it with strict rules. Abubakar Yakubu is the sub chief.
it also serves as the secret police, as we mentioned, where we communicate to our ancestors, and anybody who make attempts to cut down any plant here, the person will get unexpected sickness or even accident. The person can get accident. Unless the tree is died and fall down naturally, then you can pick the dry firewood here.
To outsiders, the warnings may sound like superstition, but for Yuwago, the fear and respect have worked, keeping one of the last natural forests in the area alive, and this living forest gives back. During the harsh Harmattan season, Maltiti acts like a shield, slowing the wind and cooling the air. Farmers say the forest protects their homes, farms, and animals. Yakubu Idrisu is the assembly member.
If somebody cut down or come here and cut down the tree, by accident, not knowing, he has just come and maybe he wants a stick for anything. He didn't know that it is protected. Then you cut. Because you don't know, you will not get anything. But if you are recalcitrantly come here to cut down the tree just to see for yourself what they said that they don't cut down trees here, then it may happen that you had a snake bite. If you had a snake bite, unless you come and they apologize to their ancestors, you will never get survive. You will never be survived. It may happen that you just get unexpected accident. Already the accident is not expected, but you get an accident that you cannot be treated, or you get any sickness that you cannot be treated. If you are also investigate, and then maybe your associate tell you that you have wronged your ancestors, and you come back and apologize, you may get treatment. One of our sisters who came here and fell down a tree, and that tree, that same tree, when it was about to fall down, it fell on the woman's waist and broke the waist. And at the end of the day, that woman became a mad woman. She's no more. So it has happened already.
For herbalists, Shaibu Pakwoni, if you come into Yuwago community with evil intentions, it will hunt you. However, if any indigene of Yuwago gets lost somewhere, it will guide him or her back home. Farmers gather dry grasses from around the forest to make compost, reducing their need for chemicals. Pakwoni again. Because we protect the trees, we understand them very well. The forest is not burnt because it is useful to us. Animals graze here, and we also gather waste from it. We collect ash, add cow dung, and convert it into manure. When the raining season begins, we use it to apply our crops, which will then give us good yield. We do not apply chemicals or apply fertilizer. When the raining season is approaching and it becomes difficult to predict the weather, one of us goes into the forest and observes the type of grass growing there. These grasses tell us when the raining season is coming. Likewise, when the dry season is approaching, the grasses also show.
Now, organizers of the luckiest 2025 promotion say a chunk of funds raised from the exercise will be channeled into community-based CSR initiatives in line with regulatory requirements as they wrap up what they describe as their most successful edition so far. Speaking at the closing ceremony after the final draw, Chief Executive Officer of the luckiest, Dennis Adichum, said half of all monies generated from the promotion are returned to the public as winnings, while a substantial portion is reinvested into communities to support social development.
Next year is going to be bigger. Next year is going to be better because we're going to increase our CSR, our corporate social responsibility. And that is something which our regulator, the National Lotteries Authority, on the Caritas platform encourages us to do. So all the monies that we've been able to raise, a chunk of it is going back to the communities for our corporate social responsibility. Half of whatever we raise goes back as winnings to the general public.
Well, looking ahead, organizers say the luckiest promotion will expand beyond Ghana, starting with Nigeria, with a long-term vision of rolling out across other African countries. According to him, more than 850,000 people took part in this year's promotion, more than double last year's figures, with participants engaging multiple times on the platform.
And this year has been amazing because we managed to surpass last year's volumes. Last year we had about 400,000 people coming on the platform. This year we had over 850,000 people coming on our platforms. And these people engaged multiple times. So it's been very successful this year. As it was announced, we are taking the luckiest to Nigeria. And the plan or the dream is to have the luckiest in all the African countries.
Well, that's all for Pulse today. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. My name is Kenneth. Jesse, the news team is back at 7 p.m. with Joy News Prime. Have a good evening.